Unica, you need to put on the mask. The coronavirus is coming. This time I can make the joke because I read my lore like last time. Read the comments. Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Mr. 4 here. Today I am back to cover Unica masks. Woof woof. And it's very sad that I'm back again to cover this profile because I've lost a lot of money from doing this. But I love Sophie so much. Today we're here to talk about the deck that no one will talk about because of how bad this deck is. It's Unica masks. And nothing has changed from last set except the fact that they gave you more garnets and one weak multi-attack. And you may be wondering, so why am I doing this deck profile? Well, because I love Sophie too much. You are forced to listen to this if you click onto this. Unless you want to leave, that's your choice. But you know what? I hope you stay because Sophie is very nice. We're going to do the right line real quick. It's very similar to the last deck. It's just we have some new cards. And yeah, you see that this deck is more of a balancing act. It loses a lot of the early game aggression that it once had. Yeah, and the tempo as well. So the grade 0 is still the same one. The grade 1 is still Sparta. Sparta, when rolled upon by a grade 2, that's Almajestar in the name. You soul charge 2. If you soul charge a critical trigger, you draw a card. So yeah, still very skill dependent. Yeah, you just need to see a crit or else you lose. And then of course on the rearguard circle, you can remove a critical trigger from your soul, and this unit gains 10. Still a very bad card. Sparta is still really bad, but it has a new interaction with Bico Masques, who actually gives you a new win con, which is that the power of this card scales with the number of triggers in the bind zone, not just crits. So there's now actual uses for Sparta, but Sparta is still so bad, you still just play one of her for the ride. Moving on with Tyrion equals to Ultraman Diner. Same skills when rolled upon by a unit with Almajestar. Okay? It's just any Almajestar. Sorry, not Almajestar. This one's rolled upon with Astroea, but it should only be this one. You can superior call the grade 2 and the grade 1 from your soul. So still the same Alfred early joke, I don't have to go through much. And of course, on her rearguard skills that you Card Blast 1, and that you choose 2 triggers from your drop zone, put them into your soul if your Vanguard is a Almajestar, and then your Vanguard and then herself gains 5. Still a wonderful skill, so you still want to use it. Of course, we have Big Girl herself. This is Astroea equals Unica. When you Soul Blast a trigger unit, choose one of your units and it gains 5, miniature Soul Saver. Second skill is that, when she attacks Soul Blast 3, bind any critical triggers involved in this cost, and this unit gains effects equal to the number of triggers in your bind zone. 1, choose one of your opponent's rearguard to retire it. 2, this unit gets a critical. 3, this unit gets a drive. So, like I mentioned in the previous video, Unica is basically a grind tempo boss. It's basically a better Majesty or a Blaster. And yeah, I really like to see Unica grinding me, but realistically speaking, a lot of the tempo of this deck is gone this set. It actually is gone. And that's because we now play the new mask stuff as well as the new Bico masks. But it trades off because we get something different, so we will go through and see how this deck really has changed. Moving on to our grade 3s, we obviously play one copy of Unica for our right deck, and we play another stray copy of Unica. It's a very weird development. It's a development that will make people say, "What? Why are you doing this?" And we'll explain. Okay, I'll explain it, not to worry. And then we also play 2 copies of the Mask of Hue to the Gloom, and then we play 4 copies of Bico Masques, which is basically her mask form. So I'm going to break it down real quick. To really explain why we are playing another copy of Unica on the main deck is to explain Bico's skill. So I will explain Bico's skill first. So her skill is very simple. Let's begin. Her first skill is that this unit can only be ridden over a card with Astroea in its name. So basically it's just the grade 3. You can't just directly ride onto her like, say, the end. Her second skill is that you get to remove a Astroea card with a different card name than this unit from your hand, soul, or drop zone. And then this unit gets +1 drive, choose one of your opponent's rearguards and retire. Sounds familiar? It should. It's skills 1 and 3 of regular Unica, but it's tied to destroying this card in your ecosystem. The issue? You kind of need the drive. The drive is one of the main things that make this deck stand out, and now it's hard locked to the worst possible condition. So you now actually have to find a way to consistently get this twin drive, triple drive, or if not, you risk losing advantage very quickly, and this game quickly becomes really bad. Which is why in a lot of cases you actually just straight up stay on this card. And then after that you can mask up when you are confident that you can actually start to kill, or even next turn if you persona ride Bico over Bico. But the chances of that is not that high. So Astroea Bico Masques is one of the few cards I straight up will tell you, do not rush into masking up. It's not like Juju Masques where you can just burn off the card and haha crit and you just complete early game aggro your opponent to death. It's not like Leonor Masques where you need a completely visionary pilot to destroy them. It's not like Zorga Masques where you can just OTK them from left field. No, Unica, you need to work, and that's why this card is the cheapest. And you don't believe me? Check. Third skill is what you're really here for, and that is when this unit attacks, counterblast 1, soul blast 3, bind all the triggers involved in this cost, and then, all the critical triggers for this cost, choose one of your rear guards and stand it itself, and this unit gains 5,000 power for each critical trigger in your bind zone. So, as I mentioned before, you know you can get up to 3 crits in the bind zone and get passive effects. Now you just need to bind the fourth one either through her own skill or through the usage of Miss Spada over here, and then you can actually go up to a +10. Which is what you're aiming for. You don't want to just aim for a +5. No one's dying to a +5, I can guarantee you that. Even with the Dragon Tree marker. And since we're talking about the Dragon Tree and its influence on our lovely lady, it's here time to talk about our latest in healthcare development, the Mask of Hidalgo. So basically what it does is when it's played, you open the top 5 cards of your deck and you get to... Yeah, it's free. It's free costed, yeah. And then you get to look at the top 5 cards of your deck and add up to 1 Mask or Dragon Tree card from it to your hand. And you may be wondering, oh, that's very strange. Mask or Dragon Tree? Yes, because the Dragon Tree wretches are back to aid our new Mask units. Just like Skull Kamada, who is a Dragon Tree wretch. You specifically need to look for their kanji that tells you it's a Dragon Tree wretch. Don't go around looking for things that look like trees, if not you'll end up like Mr. Peter Griffin here, okay? Big mistake. Trust me, just look and read your cards that state Dragon Tree. Or you can straight up just add a mask form, just like Unica Masques herself. I mean, it makes sense that the card that changes her into it is the card that searches for it, right? Second skill is from the drop zone, and that is if you do not have a Masks Vanguard, put this unit into your soul, ride a Mask unit from your hand that can be ridden, and if your opponent's grade 3 or greater, this ride is considered a Persona ride, which means you can get plus 10k in the draw. Pretty impressive. This is, like I said, the one deck you do not rush into your rides though. So I would strongly recommend, if you are playing Unica, do not mask up if you're going first. Mask up if you're going second, and guarantee yourself the plus 10k in the draw. You're gonna need it. If not, you can just stay on this. Moving on to our grade 2s. Our grade 2s, we play 1 copy of Tyrann equals to Dinah in the right deck and 3 in the main deck, 4 copies of Kit's Peak Griffin, and then we play 4 copies of Dragon Tree Wretch Skull Kamada. You can see it's a very straightforward list, and I don't think anything major has really changed from this, and it's for good reason. But let's cover it. Kit's Peak is still the same as before, and that is that if you have a trigger in your buying zone, if your Vanguard's Almajestar, this unit gets 5,000 power and 5,000 shield. Nice! It's good for the grind game. Second skill is that when this unit is placed, if your Vanguard is an Almajestar, choose up to 2 cards, two triggers from your drop zone and put it into your soul. It's very similar to Tyrannico's Dinah, but it's completely free, so just play it. It's free. It's fully free. It's for you. Just take it. Don't you like free things? And of course, Tyrannico's Dinah is such a wonderful card that you just want to play more of, even though she's Counterblast locked. But you don't really have that much cards competing for Counterblast, so it's still fine. But if you want to talk about a card that will cost you conditional Counterblast, it has to be Mr. Skull Kamada. I hope you like, what is it, Ghost Rider? Yeah, it looks a lot like Ghost Rider, but with scoliosis, and I mean insane scoliosis. What the hell happened? When placed on the rearguard circle, Counter Blast 1, Soul Blast 1, search your deck for a Mask of Hidalgo and add it to your hand. And then you can also, at the same time, install a Dragon Tree marker. So this is straight up the card that gives your Unica the mask on speed delivery, global search. Just go through the whole deck and just add it to your hand. So if you're wondering, oh, I can't afford 7,000 yen for 1 mask. It's okay. Just afford the 300 yen searcher. God loves you. And of course, the Dragon Tree marker, now that I have to talk about it, basically any circle that it's on, if your Vanguard is the Dragon Tree or a mask unit, it will empower the circle and give you half a force effect, basically plus 5,000 power. okay, it's really nice, but that's only if you actually trigger into Bico Masques, which doesn't happen very often. But it's something that you should know that this is what the Dragon Tree marker does. Which is why I did state earlier on in the video that you ideally want to restand the unit that has the Dragon Tree marker. Okay? Moving on to our grade 1s. Our grade 1s, the stars of this deck. We have 1 copy of Sparta, we have 4 Perfect Guards, we have 4 copies of Twin Marvel, and then we have 4 copies of Iron. So let's get this through real quick, because this is really simple. Sparta, 1 copies for the right deck, and we have 4 Perfect Guards, because we want to live. Play Elementaria Sanctitude if you're worried about the Strike deck sets, but if not, really, you're fine. Or if you're scared of Dragon Tree, you know, it's fine. Other than that, you don't really need it per se. Normal Perfect Guards will be fine. And of course, we play 4 copies of Iron. Iron is still the same as last time. When it boosts, if your Vanguard is Almajestar, you get to add a trigger unit from your drop zone or your hand into the soul. If you add it from your hand, you drop. So it's a fast filter, it's a fast aggression. It's just really good. Just play it. You want to talk about filter? What about filter with some bling? Twin Marvel is a card that completely changed my perception on how you do a generic staple. Twin Marvel, when this unit boosts, if you paid the cost of Soul Blast 3 this turn, it sounds a lot like a Jujut card, doesn't it? You look at the top card of your deck, you can either put it into your soul, or you can leave it on top, and this unit gains 2000 power. It's a 10k booster, it's a free filter. It's insane. It's utterly insane. It's really good for Unica because it helps your grind game or just any stage of the game, really. As long as you're grade 3 or greater, once you start playing the Soul Blast, you can start to check your cards and make sure the stars align to you. And then it also helps the fact that, you know, it's a 10k booster, which is nice because it's an extra number. In Jujut, though, because Jujut's much more aggressive, this doesn't really have much space. But I would say this is a solid card for this deck, or straight up for Bruce even, if you wish to play it. But it's only when you it's not a boost, my bad. It's when you Soul Blast for the Vanguard's ability. So it's when your Vanguard attacks still, then you trigger it. So you can actually use this multiple times, but it's a once per turn. So what happens is you trigger 1 Twin Marvel, then you can trigger another Twin Marvel. So you could just keep looking at the top card of the deck. It's fine. It's quite insane, honestly. You can play this in Bruce, you can play this in Jujut, you can play this in Unica. I fear the day where you can play this in Chronojet. And then of course our grade 0s, because this video has gone on long enough. For such a simple deck, I've been taking too much of my time. We played 8 crits. Play the effect crits, show Sophie, Belle, you love her. Play the effect draw, show Sophie, Belle, you love her. And then for heals, and then of course a starter. Because it's really as simple as that. This deck is still very straightforward, painfully straightforward. And that wraps up my Unica deck profile. Unica Mask, to be particular. This deck is still really bad. In terms of tier placing, I would say this deck has not changed at all. Absolutely not. Nothing from new support really makes it blow out. But I'll tell you something, this deck makes me very happy to see the amount of support this deck has gotten, and the fact that, you know, we actually have such consistent stuff going on. Yeah, I'm really glad we have such level of support as well as such level of care put into the cards put in. You can tell that a lot of this stuff here has not been tested very sincerely, because we have a grade 2 that can straight up attack from turn 2 onwards. We get a multiply usable scry, and we straight up got multi-attack in a deck that generates very high columns. Not as high as Zorga Masks though, but it's so much easier compared to Zorga Masks, which is horrifying if you ask me. I mean, why did they design this? They made Unica such a great aggro control tempo grind deck, and they just took away all of that. They gave us such good tempo tools, but they took away the tempo, which it leaves me at a loss for words, just like as Sophie Belle's beauty. So yes, please help me if this video does well. I can buy more Sophie Belle crits, which would mean a lot to me, and more sleeves, because I do want to protect my, you know, I need to sleeve a certain something in Sophie Belle's sleeves. So yes, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, this may be the last time I also cover Sophie Belle. The same way that was definitely the last time I'm doing Avantgarde, because some of these decks are not cheap for me to actually research and do. It does take me a lot of time. So I don't know if I can continually be able to actually go through and support so many decks in terms of actual concurrent reviews. But I just want you to know that I think Sophie Belle is incredibly sexually attractive. Thank you all so much for watching. Goodbye. I hope you actually learned something.